What you're about to hear, ladies and gentlemen, could shatter all of your preconceived notions about love, loyalty, and hip-hop royalty because just 24 hours ago, 50 Cent opened his mouth. And what he said wasn't just a confession, it was a funeral for the image that we all had of Remy Ma and Papoose. We were together before Papoose said, calm, cold, certain. In that one sentence, 50 broke a marriage, shattered a legacy, and revealed a secret that had been kept hidden since 2006. Meanwhile, Papoose, the man who waited years while Remy was in jail, the man who showed her unwavering loyalty, went live. His hands shaking and his eyes red. The internet is in flames, old footage is resurfacing, mysterious gifts are backstage whispers that suddenly make too much sense, and the entire ugly truth is right here, right now. The internet thought it had seen it all. Cheating scandals, secret babies, hidden marriages, but nothing, we mean nothing, could have prepared the culture for this. Because when 50 Cent, the king of trolling and petty vengeance, dropped his latest bombshell on a podcast, no one was even listening to the entire hip before the host paused, leaned forward, and asked, "Wait, are you serious?" 50 simply nodded, calm, cold, deadly. Then, Twitter went into DEFCON 1, and old photos of Remy and 50 backstage were reanalyzed frame by frame. Remy's 2006 freestyle on Gannett Radio was also viewed in a whole new light. People forgot how close Remy and I really were. He didn't blink, he didn't smirk, he just looked into the camera and said, "We were together before Papoose." Papoose appeared visibly irritated as 50 hugged Remy for a little too long. Yes, that one went viral again, but let's go back in time to see how deeply this betrayal cuts. Remy Ma was the first lady of Terror Squad, spitting bars that left mail, rappers trembling, and 50 Cent was just off destroying J. Rule's entire label with a mixtape and a glare. Their chemistry was evident every time they shared a stage, but no one suspected anything, at least not aloud, because by the time Remy was imprisoned in 2008, everyone saw only one thing: Papoose. The man who supported her, wrote her letters, and paid legal fees, and 50 Cent put his entire career on hold to wait for the woman he loved. A man who declared to the world, "Remy is my queen." When she eventually came out in 2014, their reunion was heartwarming, legendary, and, in a subtle way, a rap love story that will live on for generations to come. Because what if the story we all believed to be true was a lie? What if, in those years, we thought Remy and Papoose were solid, but there was another man behind the scenes, one with receipts, a history, and no fear of exposing everything? That's what 50 Cent just did. In any case, it was claimed that Remy and 50 were more than just talking. They were deeply involved in things like matching watches, private hotel reservations, and a custom chain that 50 allegedly gave her that mysteriously disappeared just before her trial. When Remy claimed to have lost it, Papoose reportedly didn't question her and simply believed her. Fast forward to the present, and that same chain is back in circulation on eBay, listed by an anonymous seller. It's a vintage piece that was once owned by a female rapper who dated a mogul. You can't make this up. What happens when a man like Papoose, a man who sacrificed years of his life to prove, when he went live on Instagram a few hours after 50's confession? He didn't say much, but the look in his eyes said it all. Tears welled up, hands shook, and for the first time in his career, Papoose had no bars, no quotes, just pain. She told me it was just industry talk, but when I saw the messages, I thought, wait, what messages? You already know. What did we find? Let's just say even Fat Joe had to take a step back. But wait, because the texts aren't the only thing. The timelines are exploding with receipts, old tweets, backstage footage, and blurry screenshots from a flip phone that someone swears is Remy, and 50 kissing at a G-Unit after-party. Just when you think it can't get any worse, it does. Remy tried to deny it all, tried to gaslight, and tried to spin the narrative like it was just a misunderstood friendship, but this time, nobody bought it. Not even Papoose. According to an anonymous stylist who worked with Remy during her comeback period, there was always tension. Because when trust is broken, it's not always the shouting that hurts, but rather the silence, the long pauses between sentences, and the look on a man's face when he realizes that he gave his life to someone who gave their body to someone else. And while Remy was tweeting Bible verses and attempting to control the damage in his comments, 50 Cent was posting laughing emojis and playing men in the background of his gym stories. However, 50 wasn't finished. He promised more proof is coming, and when he makes more promises, you can bet your money that it's already loaded in the chamber. Just as fans started to wonder what else 50 had up his sleeve, something else broke: the internet. The voice sounds the same, the tone is desperate and emotional, and the timestamp on the metadata is October 12, 2006, 2 weeks before Remy was charged. Let that sink in. Just as viewers were still processing that audio bomb, the loyal soldier stepped away from the camera, grabbed a piece of paper, and held it up. It read, "DNA test pending." Wait, DNA test. Suddenly, the internet stopped discussing whether 50 Cent was lying and instead asked one question. The leaked voicemail was purportedly from 2006 and purportedly from Remy Ma. But when betrayal enters the conversation, everything becomes up for grabs. According to sources, the test isn't about his daughter with Remy or even about one of the children they raised together. Rather, it's about someone older whose birthday coincides somewhat too precisely with the time Remy and 50 Cent were allegedly together back in 2006. And now there are rumors that the person who held up the piece of paper that said the DNA test was pending. It didn't just shake fans, it sent shockwaves through the entire industry. Always brushed them off out of loyalty, trust, and love. However, when that voicemail, in which Remy allegedly said, "Pap, don't ask questions," leaked, everything fell apart. According to those close to Pap, he has been quiet, hardly eating, and not sleeping. And the worst part is that he is doing it all off camera. The man who once went live to defend his queen is now ignoring calls from media outlets, declining interviews, and closing down studio sessions. But the silence is loud, and Remy is playing defense as if her life depended on it. The public isn't buying it, though, because when the DNA rumor broke, fans began pulling up old interviews. One in particular, from a 2015 breakfast show, is receiving new attention. In that clip, Remy is asked about her relationship timeline with Papoose, and she gives a stuttering, awkward response. People are now slowing it down, pointing out how she looks sideways when asked about the year 2006. And then there's the grainy but intense footage from a Goonit after-party, where Remy is seen whispering in her 50s while holding what looks to be the same chain that's now everyone knew something was going on between 50 and Remy, but it was hush-hush. No one wanted to deal with Papoose if it got out dude was serious, reads a private direct message sent to a hip-hop blog by an anonymous former security guard who worked for both Goonit and Fat Joe in the mid-2000s. The clip also shows a man who looks a lot like Papoose walking away in the background. But wait, it gets messier. According to the same guard, 50 once unexpectedly showed up to Ray's hotel suite. She let him in, and he stayed for more than 3 hours without any media crews or entourage. Fast forward to the present, and Remy Ma hasn't directly addressed the new allegations, but fans noticed that she removed an old Instagram post featuring a throwback photo of Papoose holding their child just hours after the DNA test rage began to spread. She also reportedly canceled a scheduled podcast appearance, citing mental health issues. Coincidentally, Fat Joe, who has been strangely silent throughout the chaos, finally broke his silence in a mysterious Instagram Live. He didn't name names, but he said that loyalty is rare, and sometimes the people you die for are the ones who dig. The fans are now speculating that Fat Joe knew about Remy and 50 all along, and that he kept quiet to protect her image out of respect for the squad. But now that the truth is coming to light, even he can't contain it any longer. As for 50 Cent, he's having a field day. He shared a clip from an old freestyle battle in which Remy raps, "I keep secrets better than my enemies can blink," captioned it with "no longer," then removed it, but not before each and every person took a screenshot of it. He playing nice, so when he says more receipts are coming, we believe him. Sources close to his camp claim he has voicemails, old photos, text threads, and even a signed birthday card that Remy allegedly sent him in 2006, one that ends with a heart and the words, "Thanks for always having my back," among other things. That card is currently being authenticated, and Papoose is making quiet moves. This is the 50-year-old man who got into a fight with Son, who trolled Floyd Mayweather for reading aloud. At this point, it's not about loyalty, but rather clarity, closure, and possibly even custody. According to an insider, Papoose is thinking of filing for legal separation, but only after the DNA results are in. Until then, he's keeping quiet, staying still, and watching everything. And what about Remy? She was spotted last night at a private dinner in Manhattan by herself without Papoose or the press, just her and her phone barely touching her food. The couple, who were once viewed as unbreakable, are now unraveling in slow motion in real time with millions watching. 50 Cent is still out there posting cryptic posts hinting that there is one more thing that will put an end to this story permanently. What could it be? Is there a video? A recorded call? Another person who knows the truth and is just waiting to come forward? One thing is certain, though. If the DNA results come back and the child isn't Papoose, it won't just destroy a relationship. It'll rewrite a whole legacy. It began with whispers, then it turned into a confession, and now it's a complete implosion. Because the results are in. After weeks of speculation, silent glances, and online detective work from all over hip-hop Twitter, the DNA test revealed that the child Papoose believed to be his was not the father. Screenshots of the document went viral in a matter of seconds. The lab name was redacted, but the date and result weren't obvious, bold, and impossible to ignore. And just like that, years of public devotion and sacrifice were shattered in a single sentence. The man who once wrapped up holding down his queen through prison walls now needed someone to hold him up. According to insiders, Papoose didn't even read the entire thing at first. He simply saw the word excluded and dropped the paper. His hands never picked it up again. He hasn't spoken to Remy directly since the outcome, according to sources. She allegedly sent voice notes, "You are still the one who raised him." However, treachery rather than biology was about being made to appear foolish in front of a world that once hailed him as the epitome of unwavering loyalty. Now that image has vanished, and it hasn't been chipped or cracked. To make matters worse, the internet isn't letting it go. Viral clips of Remy telling Wendy Williams, "Pap is the only man I ever trusted," are being turned into meme reactions. It's now overlaid with 50 Cent's laugh over and over again. And speaking of 50, he didn't wait long to spike the football. Just hours after the DNA bomb dropped, he posted a clip of me yelling, "You are not the father," with a caption, "I informed you, everyone." Legal insiders claim that Papoose has already contacted a lawyer to determine whether a formal statement is necessary to protect his name, finances, and what little piece of himself he still has left. Meanwhile, Remy is reportedly devastated, not only because of the outcome, but also because her inner circle is turning against her. They said that I was being messy, and he followed it up with a video of him drinking tea. Is classic petty inevitability, but now things are moving beyond social media. Her world is in ruins, brand deals are falling through, and she was in talks for a new reality show spin-off that is now dead in the water. One sponsor allegedly said, "We can't align ourselves with someone whose narrative is shifting so violently." Comments are now leaking information, telling blogs that this wasn't a one-time mistake, that her relationship with 50 lasted longer than anyone knew, that she had real feelings for him, and that she buried them to build her life with Papoose. And that's what started out as a redemption story, Remy being released from prison, rebuilding her career, and standing tall next to a faithful king, is now being rewritten as something completely different. It's not just betrayal, though. It's a PR relationship, a rebrand based on strategy and silence, a queen who never truly left her first king behind, and all the streets are talking about it. Fat Joe went live again, this time more bluntly, saying, "I love both of them, but lies don't stay buried forever, and when they come up, they don't knock, they kick the door in." There is disagreement among fans as well. Some believe Papoose should have some fiercely defend him, calling him the last real one. A man who gave his all and was stabbed in the back by the very person he built a life for. Still others defend Remy, claiming that mistakes happen, that her past shouldn't define her present, and that the industry itself is the real villain here, always ready to destroy Black love the moment it takes center stage. However, nobody can deny that Papoose is no longer talking, not to fans, blogs, or Remy. It's the loudest part of this whole mess because it means he's finished defending, explaining, and acting. According to one friend, he's planning to take a break from music and focus on his daughter, his family, and the aspects of his life that still feel real. Remy is still posting, but it feels different now. A throwback here, a quote there, nothing personal, nothing emotional, just noise, as if she knows the apology won't work this time, and the child at the center of it all. Sources say Papoose will continue to support them in private, not because He has to, but because he did it from the start. And unlike some, he remembers everything he said. However, the damage is done. What was once hip-hop's most unbreakable love story is now dust. And as 50 Cent smirks and leaves, Remy Ma is left to clean up a mess that can't be swept away because the internet doesn't forget. The screenshots never go out of style, and the truth always surfaces. Papoose famously remarked, "Loyalty is love with legs, no matter how long it takes." It turns out that it left as soon as the mask collapsed, and the story ends there. Or is it because right when we believed that everything had fallen apart, when a new picture appeared on blogs of 50 Cent grinning while standing outside a studio with a woman wearing sunglasses? The caption said, "Next Friday, it looks like someone's got another story to tell." And there you have it. The truth is broken like glass. The silence is louder than ever, and the man who is looking for loyalty is now standing in the wreckage of everything he once believed in. However, isn't just about Papoose, Remy Ma, or even 50 Cent. It's about how quickly love becomes a headline, how one confession can ruin decades of trust, and how true loyalty is dying. So, we ask, was Remy ever really honest with, "If you're still in shock and trying to piece together the betrayal, or are waiting to see what comes out next?" Please like, subscribe, and enable notifications, because this story is far from over. Trust us, the next chapter is coming, and you'll want to be here when it drops. This is the messiest love triangle on the internet, and it just went nuclear. Did 50 speak up to expose the truth, or just to put gasoline on an old flame? Can a relationship survive after the receipts go public?